Welcome back to the Wine Podcast for everyone. In this episode, we're going to talk about restaurants, ordering wine, tasting wine, and sending it back. Chuck reviews a white wine from Chile, and I'm going to try a wine beverage from the USA. So for my wine, air brackets around wine, I'm trying a wine beverage today. It's called Gaze. It's a mixture of coconut water, Moscato, and Chardonnay. And the back, it talks about being refreshing, a blend of product from sunny vineyards of California, master blended with coconut water, crafted to enjoy any time. I don't know, there's master blenders of coconut water. Sure. And it says stop and gaze. Drink in the moment. It does
no time like the present moment.
No, yeah, exactly. We're going to do this now. It has a list of ingredients. So again, you can't call it wine. I guess that's why they're calling it a wine beverage. There's never a list of ingredients on wine. Maybe a list of grapes that are in it. But really quickly, it's carbonated water. So the first ingredient is water. Moscato wine, Chardonnay wine, sugars, bracket, coconut water, concentrate, cane sugar, close bracket, natural flavor, citric acid, contains sulfites. Sulfites are not unusual. I poured it into the glass. It looks like white wine.
Looks like white wine, yeah.
Yeah. But to sniff it is nothing like okay, I can't compare it to wine, but I've never smelled anything like this, in a glass of wine.
Do you get much of this coconut?
Maybe there's something I can't pick out. It's not in my wine vocabulary, and I think that's what it is. It's coconut.
Well, take one for the team, bottoms up.
Here we go. There's a little fizz. So they said carbonated water. There's a lot of pear, maybe some like stone fruit, nectarine kind of thing happening. I get it. It's refreshing. It's not just a cold glass of, white wine.
Where do you drink this? Like if you're kicking back on the pool, by the pool or by the beach?
I grabbed it as I was going through the wine store because it was just something different, unusual. It was inexpensive. It was like under $6. So I would encourage you, if you're going through your local wine store and you see something unusual, grab it. That's how we learn about new stuff. I think I'm going to stick to my wine.
Wine without the beverage footnote.
Wine sans beverage. That's Gaze wine beverage from California. $5.90, 2 out of 5 star. All right, let's talk about restaurants.
Paying triple for wine.
That should be the episode title. Do you order wine in restaurants, Chuck?
Only by the glass, rarely by the bottle. Rarely.
Only by the glass. Why is that?
I don't think I'd finish a whole bottle. I don't really want to take it home as much either.
Right.
And by the glass, I find everyone can just get what they want.
Good point. I'm a little bit frugal, and so I see the price of the wine by the glass. Not that the bottle's any better, but if you kind of multiply the price by the glass by 4, that's kind of what they're charging for the bottle. And yeah, you got to swallow hard, I guess. But there's sometimes I do just want a glass of wine when I'm out for dinner, and I agree with you. I tend to go by the glass.
Yeah. Plus, everyone might be eating different things. The same wine may not jive with everyone's food, but you do feel kind of bad paying, say, $15 to $20 for a glass of wine sometimes. When a bottle, we get bottles for 20 or under.
Yeah, that's true. And you're right. Like the 9-ounce servings I've seen get up in the 20s. Sometimes though, it's just whatever that particular meal or that dish that you're having is just nice. It's just a glass of wine is perfect with this.
Yeah. Plus you're out and it's an occasion.
Right. Just make
so it feels okay.
A little more special. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say you're going to a restaurant, pretty nice, kind of a 3-4 star restaurant. And, you sit down, everybody sits down and, they ask if you want to see the wine list. And I usually say yes, more out of curiosity for me. And they hand you a wine list that's multiple pages long. What do you do with that?
I usually just look at the first 1 or 2 pages, to be honest.
Right.
Scan the price list, maybe.
And usually the by the glass bottles are there.
First, usually on the menu, too.
Usually, yeah. And then I guess there's always that, who wants wine? And you try to decide if you have a bottle or not. But I like your tip for, you're all eating something different. Just get the right wine for you.
Get what you like.
Yeah, because the wine by the glass tends to be slightly more expensive than ordering the whole bottle, but slightly, like a couple of bucks. It's not a big difference.
Not a huge difference. You're going to pay through the teeth either way, so
yeah,
do whatever fits.
I love restaurants. I love going out to eat. They're entitled to make money, but wine is where they make a lot of money, and it can be double to triple the cost of the bottle is what we're, kind of confronted with.
I usually see 2.5 to 3 times the bottle, typically in my area, at least when I look.
And if it's a nicer restaurant, you think of the wine as a product, and they have hopefully a sommelier, they have storage, they had to import it, they had to have all the serviceware and the people certified to serve it. So there's, it's not like it's just free for the restaurant. There's a cost to doing business there.
There's work around it, yep.
When I get one of those big wine lists, I tend to scan the right side of the page first where the prices are, and then sort of decide how flossy I'm feeling that particular evening. But generally, you can find, so this is going to sound crazy because we're, nosnobwine.com, but you can find good bottles under 100. You should be able to find good bottles in the $30 to $60 range. We're talking about a $20 or less bottle of wine, right, guys?
Yeah, you got to multiply by 3. A $20 bottle, you're looking to spend probably $60 to $80.
Could be that. Wow, yeah, even that high. That'd be a lot.
Maybe not that much then.
Triple it. Some restaurants, that's where they make some good money there.
Yeah, sure.
For me, when I look at the wine list, I'm immediately looking for things I know, and that sort of gives me a sense of what the wine list is like.
I noticed that when you sit down at the table, you normally order your drinks first, but you don't know what you're eating necessarily. Yeah, what do? You just start with an aperitif wine, or you think, I'm going to order the steak. I should order a cab or a zin or something.
That's such an interesting question, because you're absolutely right. You don't know what you're eating the moment that you sit down. So I'd never order wine up front. I will have a water or a cocktail while I navigate the menu, and then I make my wine decision. Yes, 100%. If the restaurant has more than a few wines, there's going to be somebody probably on staff that knows about them or can answer your questions. Maybe they don't necessarily have a sommelier in the dining room at that moment. Maybe they do. Feel free to ask. That's they'd love to talk about it. And that's one of those times, I think, where you can say, I want to stick around this budget.
Oh, definitely give them your budget. Give them something to work with.
Yeah.
And tell them what you're eating. Tell them what a few of you people are eating if you're looking for a bottle.
Absolutely. If you're out for dinner with multiple people and they know you have a wine website and a wine podcast.
You have wine experience?
Wine experience. Does the wine list go to you?
Sure.
Yeah, always. Yeah, same.
Of course.
Always. My go-to move is similar to what we've talked about in other episodes. I'll go with a Cabernet Sauvignon from California, maybe a Zinfandel, and people pleaser. To me, unless you're with a bunch of wine enthusiasts, this is not the time to pick a random, Italian $185 bottle of wine that, they bring it to you and you're like, wow, this tastes like tobacco and leather and, things that not everybody's going to like.
No, maybe great wine, but crowd pleaser time for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the go-to move is the same as if you're in the liquor store. You like Italian, stick in the Italian section. They're going to have things you never heard of, ask questions. And for the same reason we just said, at these prices, don't get creative.
And a lot of restaurants work with importers, so you may not be familiar with a lot of the wines. So that is a good tip. Just stay with the regions that you like drinking from.
That's really good advice there. And you're so right, because and what Chuck's referring to is when you import wine or broker it in, it's probably not wine that you're going to see on the liquor store or the wine store shelf. It's a whole other world. You order your wine, and the person who's serving you, maybe it's a sommelier, probably not in most restaurants. Definitely in higher end restaurants, you'll have a sommelier in-house. And, our job is to do exactly what you said. Understand your budget, understand what you're eating this evening or that day, and know our wine inventory and help recommend wines for you. But the second thing to do is we want to serve it to you and make sure you're enjoying it. That's really key, because you just spent a lot of money on some wine. There's this little call it a performance sort of ritual to serving wine at a restaurant. The wine is brought to you at the table, the person who ordered it, and they show you the bottle, right? What are you looking for when they show you the bottle, present you the bottle, like it's unopened bottle? What are you looking for, Chuck?
I'm just making sure they picked up the right bottle and brought me the right stuff.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're doing. And pro tip, the number of times that I've been shown a bottle that does not match the vintage, the year in the menu happens a lot. Like I've lost count. So I've asked, I said, the wine list had 2017, that's a 2018. They'll either go back and find it or explain that their wine list is not up to date. But
no discount.
No discounts, sadly. The next step is the uncorking of the wine. And you're going to notice they're going to do it very close to you. So they're going to use a waiter's corkscrew, probably. They're going to remove the cork. Watch them do it. They do this thousands of times. It's so smooth. They're so smooth.
Practice.
Yeah, nonstop. And I've seen some people work corkscrews, and they are awkward.
It can be clumsy if you don't know how to work it. Especially table side, people are watching you.
Yeah, and if you watch a sommelier or somebody in service do it, right, they're holding it in one hand and opening it with the other. Have you ever noticed that?
It's much more difficult freestanding.
It is. And there's a few reasons for it, but one of the main ones is not wanting to splash any wine on the table or the guests. So then they take the cork and they put it down in front of you. What do you do with that?
Most people would pick it up and take a big whiff.
So wrong.
Why? That's what they do in the movies.
I know. And then if somebody does that at your table, keep your eye on the person serving the wine. And if they manage to not roll their eyes, they're a pro. But no, you don't do that. They're giving you the cork to inspect it for damage. So you're looking to see, as the wine seeped up the side of the cork, suggesting that oxygen is a lot of air is getting into the bottle, or that the cork is damaged in some way. So look at it, spin it around. It can be stained, like the part that was touching the wine could be stained. That's fine, especially on an older wine. And just make sure there's no visible damage on it, and then put it back down. Please don't sniff your corks.
Doesn't tell you anything.
There are some circumstances where it could, but the average wine drinker wouldn't know it necessarily.
So what comes next?
Next, we're still on the person who ordered the wine. So we're going to say Chuck ordered the wine. We're going to pour a very small amount of the wine into your glass. Now it's up to you. What do you do with that?
So I'll give it a swirl or two and give it a whiff. Would I taste it? I guess I would. I mean, why not?
Yeah, that's the whole point. So what you're not tasting... You're not exactly, what we're asking you to do is check if it's funky or weird to you in some way or tastes off or off-putting, right? Because, you're in a restaurant, there's a lot of smells, there's a lot of things happening. You're not a professional wine drinker, but you taste, you're like, okay, yeah, that tastes fine. Maybe you're not going to break down the wine, and do a review on it, but you're just checking, right?
Yeah.
We're checking that the label is what I wanted. I'm checking that the cork isn't damaged, and I'm checking that it doesn't taste weird.
When your food comes to you on your plate, you look at it first.
Exactly. It's a great analogy. Yes, yeah. Exactly. So then the server will pour the glasses of everybody else who's drinking wine, and yours will be left to last. And then you will get your wine. So don't worry, they're coming back. And that's the little dance we do in ordering wine in a restaurant.
So table service.
Table service, yeah.
Yep.
Let's say, you're out and you're celebrating something big and you ordered a really fancy bottle of wine. If they have a sommelier or a wine professional and they're serving it to you, if you want to have like big bonus points, ask the sommelier if they would like to try the wine with you. They love that. And it happens from time to time.
I bet they do like that.
Yeah. I went to a steakhouse and I brought my own wine. You can do that, right?
At some places, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it depends on the laws of wherever you happen to live.
Yep.
And when you bring your own wine to a restaurant, you're depriving the restaurant of some revenue. So there's usually what's called a corkage fee. What is that? Usually $25 to $40?
I think like $30.
Around $30.
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah. And so that's just you're just sharing, with the restaurant. And remember, you're going to you can bring any bottle of wine you want. You could bring a mass market wine, or you could bring a bottle that's $150. You could. But remember that $150 bottle of wine would have been $300 for the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought a bottle that was nice. It was a nice wine. It was something fancy from California. And the person working the table recognized it, sort of eyes, opened a little bit wide. I was like, oh, hey, nice. And I said, yeah, why don't you, they're going to open it. Just to be clear, they're serving alcohol to you. There are rules about that. So they are going to open the bottle and they're going to pour the bottle, even though it's already yours. I know that seems weird. And I said, hey, yeah, why don't you grab a glass and have a sip with me? And it was like Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were really pleased about it. And then they're kind of looking at me. They're like, oh, are you into wine? I'm like, yeah, I'm into wine, la, la, la. And then somebody at my table sniffed the cork and she's like, oh, yeah. Have you ever sent wine back?
I've brought it back to the store, but never at a restaurant. It's never really happened. But I would.
Yeah. I think there's some, what's the word I'm looking for? Trepidation? No, I think there's some people are nervous about sending wine back that, you're going to, one, sort of cause a fuss, and two, there's some wine professional, who's sort of going to sort of judge you or, try and convince you that the wine is fine.
True.
So generally, I have sent wine back at a restaurant. It's rare. If they have to get rid of a bottle, that's profit, right? That's not right for them. That's bad for them. So the restaurants go to great lengths to store the wine correctly, know they're getting it from a good winery. But sometimes there is something off with the wine. Like if you ordered a wine, you made your way through the wine list and you picked a wine, you said, I want this wine. And then it comes to your table and you're drinking it and you're like, I don't like this. It's kind of your problem.
It's not about like.
That's right.
It's about, is it okay wine? Yeah. Okay meaning, is it faulty or not?
Yeah.
If it's faulty, you can send it back. If you just don't like it or you ordered the wrong thing, that's on you.
Yeah, it kind of is. Now, a good restaurant who wants to keep their customers happy, like if you called the server over and said, hey, I really don't like this wine, they're first going to ask, is there anything wrong with it? Like to your point, Chuck, is there something wrong? They're probably going to take it back because they just want you to be happy. But that's sort of not the way this works or should work. If you taste, let's say, this is what's happened to me, is we ordered some wine, we did the dance, right? We did the label and the cork and the taste. Mm-hmm. And when we had the taste, like the bottle was just opened. It's a little taste. So let's say 20 minutes has gone by now. The wine has interacted with the air. It's maybe warmed up a little bit because you're supposed to store wine a little bit cooler than room temperature. And it was funky. There was something wrong. And I called the wine guy in the store over, said, hey, there's something wrong with this. And he grabbed a glass and took a little bit. And right away he's like, oh yeah, something's not right.
You can usually identify pretty quickly if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah. And you'll hear people use the term corked. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. People throw it around like, oh, this wine's corked. Well, maybe. It's actually unusual. But there could be other things that's happened to the wine. For instance, have you heard of bottle shock? No? So let's say you take a wine and you move it in transit and it's been shaken up and maybe the temperature's changed. The wine will go really weird, can go really weird. And that's called bottle shock. And once you just leave it alone for a few hours or a day, it goes away.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's probably not bottle shock at the table. I would like to think the wine's been sitting somewhere.
Yeah, probably not. It's probably just come from their storage.
Mm-hmm. So, oh, no problem. We'll take it away. They make sure they take the glasses away because your glasses have got bad wine in it. You should get new glasses. They came back with a second bottle, same thing, label, cork, taste. Okay. It was off. Now, I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy snapping my fingers and saying, garçon, this is unacceptable. Like I'm feeling really awkward at this point.
Yeah. Cause you're telling people you're giving me something that's bad, not on purpose, but we got to go through this again now.
Right. And I'm going to be that guy. And I also don't want to be the guy who's like, well, I'm a sommelier. That's not my move. That's not how I roll. And the people I was dining with tasted their glasses and were like, yeah, this is something off. So, okay, it was expensive wine. Do it again, kind of all over, say this isn't right. He tastes it. He's like, oh, maybe it's not. But you can say he was getting kind of of annoyed. And this was a nice restaurant. It's like, okay. So he takes the bottle away and comes back with another quote unquote bottle, but it's open.
Yeah, that's the same bottle.
That's exactly. And I looked at it and I looked at him and I said, I can't, what exactly I said? I basically something effective. I'm in the industry and that's an open bottle of wine. And I'm guessing it's one of the first two that we had at the table. He didn't fight. He didn't say anything. He just took it away.
Yeah, you could get that over on someone else probably.
Make sure they're bringing you unopened wine if you do get a second bottle.
Yeah, table side open.
Good rule of thumb.
So say there's only 2 people dining and you do bring a bottle or you buy a bottle and you don't finish it. You know, you might have to drive home. You're just not feeling that second glass. Can I bring it with me? I paid for it. I'm not going to just leave it here.
Yeah, that's
I have to?
That's an excellent question because you did pay and pay well for it. It depends where you live.
Oh.
Yeah, there's laws usually about that. They're getting a lot more progressive. Where we are, we can take it home. They will place the cork back in it, not all the way, but as best they can, and take it, and you can take it home.
Yeah, because I remember years ago, it was not allowed to drive around with open alcohol containers.
Oh, now we're into a different issue, and I think that has to be out of the reach of the driver.
Oh, so if you put in the trunk?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get pulled over with an open bottle of wine on the passenger seat.
On the passenger seat, in your glove box or in your cup holder?
Yeah, a cup holder. Not great. Not great. No, yeah, out of reach of the driver. Check your own locality, region's laws about that, but I know that's pretty common.
Yeah, I'm not bailing your ass out of jail.
I knew that.
So to sum up our suggestions about restaurants and wine, we suggest ordering by the glass. Pick what you like so everyone can pick what they like. You can get a bottle, it's no problem. Buy the bottle's an okay option as well if everyone's eating sort of the same thing and likes kind of the same wine. Don't be afraid to ask the sommelier to pick your wine for you. Tell them your budget. Tell them what you're eating. Feel free, if the restaurant allows, to bring your own bottle. There's a corkage fee at some places where they'll serve it for you. If you don't finish your bottle, you can have them cork it and you can bring the rest home. If you do order a bottle in a restaurant, when it comes to you, check the label, check the vintage, make sure you get what you ordered, have a taste, smell it. You don't need to smell the cork, just the wine. If it smells bad, ask the waiter to also try it and tell them you think it's bad.
And don't be afraid to send it back if you think something's wrong. Chuck, what's your wine today?
Adobe Reserva Sauvignon Blanc Organic 2020. Tastes like citrus, pineapple, mineral, honeydew. Light medium body, extra dry with a lime zest finish, from Chile, New World style, 5 out of 5 stars, $13.95.
Wine beverage.
Yeah, probably has to say that.
Stop and gaze. Drink in the moment.
Like a sugary wine?
Yeah,
like
I think it's going to be.
What percentage? How strong is that?
It's 4.5%, so it's like Canadian beer strong.
Well, it's light beer strong.
Light beer, yeah.
What's the reason for return, sir? It's pretty terrible. Is that a good reason?
It is a good reason.
Adobe Reserva Cabernet. Oh my God, I keep saying Cabernet.
What is it?
It's not. It's fucking Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, Sauvignon Blanc. But the wine didn't inspire me to write more.
Yeah, that's fair too.
And they call it Pinot Gris. It just annoys me.
Yeah, I don't need the extra names.
Where are we? 40 minutes? Wow, see, we are getting good.
What? Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wine Podcast for Everyone. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts, as it helps other people find us.
Yeah, tell your friends about the podcast. We know they drink wine too.
For more information on any of the wines we discussed, go to nosnobwine.com or check the show notes for links. The Wine Podcast for Everyone is a production of No Snob Media.